We bring in now our good friend Bill O'Reilly. Next book comes out in September, Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst. And he's got a Three Americans live show with Stephen A. Smith and Chris Cuomo in Westbury, New York. It is this Sunday. Tickets available at BillO'Reilly.com. Bill, we appreciate you coming on. All right. How big of a story do you think the Signal controversy is? How long does it go on? What is your analysis right now?
Pretty much over today, unless there's another revelation. So we know what happened. Walsh inadvertently screwed up his communications on this internet site, and this weasel, Jeffrey Goldberg, got on the site and got the information. Big mistake, not a scandal. If I were President Trump, I wouldn't fire anybody. Certainly embarrassing. If it happens again, then he has to fire a whole bunch of people.
I think that's totally correct, or I totally agree with that, Bill. Thanks for being here with us. The one part of this that I think is interesting is, there are a few things that have come out of this, but one of them is, what do you think are the ethics of a journalist in this case getting access? Do you think that he plays the "I'm a journalist, so I should just find out whatever I can" card, or given that it's national security, which by his own admission is high level stuff, impending strike, he should have ducked out of it? I mean, what do you think is the right move? Quite honestly, if you were advising somebody who came to you and said, "Hey, I'm in this chat and they're talking about some stuff they shouldn't," what would you tell them to do?
All right, as the dean of American journalism, that's me, 50 years this year in the business, getting paid, 50 years. So I'm appointing myself the dean of American journalism. If it were me and I got on a thread accidentally as a reporter, I would take notes. All right? I would get the information because that's what reporters do. And Goldberg, I don't think, did anything deceitful, but I'm not entirely sure. And I'm going to make a point about that in a moment. But as far as a reporter is concerned, his or her duty is to assemble information, and this would be something that drops in your lap, and you're going, whoa, I'm going to listen to this. Okay, so that's not any kind of violation of journalistic ethics or anything else. Then you have to decide what to do with the information. Now, here it becomes a little bit murky. If lives are in danger, if military action is compromised, certainly you cannot release it. Cannot. Until after the fact. And I believe that's what Goldberg did. So this all happened on March 15th.
Right.
So he was treading a fine line, no doubt. And the FBI should be interviewing him. I don't know where Kash Patel is, but agents should have interviewed him on Monday just to find out, what the deuce happened, right? Does that make sense to everybody? Why wouldn't Jeffrey Goldberg be interviewed by the FBI? I don't believe that's happened. If it has, nobody knows about it. It should. Finally, the importance of the story is that if you are going to depend on the internet for vital national security communications, the Chinese and Russians are going to be your best friends. So all these people should have known better, all of them. It's a lot of inexperience in that national security room, as we all know. And I pointed that out before these appointments were made. So there we go.
So what do you think? You said you think the story's basically over. President Trump certainly has no love lost for the national security experts out there demanding that people be fired after they raided his home and tried to put him in prison for the rest of his life for classified documents. Trump seems to be totally behind his team right now. Through 60 days, there have been very few leaks. I mean, this was, as Buck and I have talked about, not only an error, but an error that actually was probably the worst person you could have put on the text thread, right? Because I don't think most people would have behaved in the way necessarily that Jeffrey Goldberg has. But we're through 60 days. You think this story is going to go away. What grade would you give President Trump, Bill O'Reilly, right now through the first couple of months of Trump 2.0?
Okay, so you're not just grading him on this incident, you're grading him
Correct.
on the performance. So I actually was asked this question on the Stephen A. Smith podcast Monday, and thank you for mentioning the live show that we're doing on Sunday at Westbury, Long Island. And I give Trump various grades. So he gets an A+ on the border.
Yep.
He gets a B+ on the deportations of criminal aliens. I think that Holman, who I had on my program, the No Spin News yesterday, has got to be a little bit more methodical about who's getting booted out of here and why. So, but I give him a B+. The tariffs, I'm giving him a C and an incomplete because we do not know how that's going to work out, and it spooked the stock market. So some people got hurt in the short term. I tell all my listeners and viewers, do not react to political things in the stock market. Just ride it out. And there is information, by the way, that is coming in. I think it was one of the Arab states, Gulf states, investing $1 trillion in American economy, and that's not reported by the corrupt press. So there is big money coming into the United States, which will bolster the economy. But right now, people are confused about tariffs. It is a confusing situation, and so I'm giving them a C there. As far as overall demeanor is concerned, as you guys probably know, I was in a cabinet meeting in the White House on St. Patrick's Day. He was totally in command. I think he's doing the right thing with Putin, even though Putin is on the cover of my upcoming book, Confronting Evil. Putin is evil, but you got to deal with evil sometimes. And I think they're going to get some kind of ceasefire in Ukraine. That's big. So overall, I would say President Trump is having a successful launch into his second term.
We're talking to Bill O'Reilly. Oh, sorry. I just want Bill. I want to ask you. You mentioned the live show coming up with Stephen A. There's a different kind of live show that's been happening lately, a road show of sorts with Bernie Sanders and AOC. It's like the socialist elder statesman trying to pass the torch to the woke radical leftist. Is this the future of the Democrat Party, you think? Are they going to lead into this? How do you see that playing out? Because they have, as we've discussed with you before, the bench, they can tell us all day it's strong. Their bench is not strong right now.
Well, if they continue on this way and you throw in Maxine Waters saying that Melania Trump may not be a citizen, you throw in that Crockett woman in Texas who is mocking Greg Abbott in a wheelchair. You put that all in one soup bowl, and Americans are going, this party is disintegrating. With a 30% approval rating, you're going to have two communists go out and do a tour. Sanders is a hardcore communist. He wants to seize private property. Ocasio-Cortez, I don't think, understands the difference between socialism and communism. Could be wrong, and I don't want to be supercilious, word of the day. She went to the same college I went to, Boston University. But I don't think she understands economics at all. I think she's just a trendy person who goes and says what she thinks her radical left followers want to hear. But Sanders is a dangerous man. He's dangerous. And I don't know whether most Americans understand that Uncle Bernie is a hardcore communist, but certainly when you promote a wealth tax where the government would come into your home and seize private property under the guise of taxation, you're a communist. That's what communism is. So if the Democratic Party is putting their future in the hands of those four people, then it's done.
I don't know if you saw this, LeBron James, since you were going to be with Stephen A. Smith and you just did his podcast, LeBron James just went on ESPN and really kind of took a 2x4 to Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if you saw this, but he mocked him over the way that he has, they had a confrontation of sorts on the court, and he mocked him over the way that he has covered it. Um, you have seen Stephen A. Smith be engaging more and more in politics. Do you buy the idea that he might ever do anything in terms of actually running for office? You're doing this tour with him now. I'm sure you'll talk about the LeBron feud a little bit. But what is his end game here? He's now got a $100 million contract from ESPN. He's going to theoretically have more money than he could theoretically spend. I say theoretically because there's a lot of people out there who have made $100 million crazily and end up going bankrupt somehow. So that's still out there. But what do you think the next move for Stephen A. is?
Well, I don't think he's going to run for politics anytime soon. He's in his 50s. When he gets in his 60s, he'll probably have enough of calling Cleveland Cavalier games, and maybe he'll segue in. He's a very smart guy. I think he's honest. I've seen nothing to the contrary. I'm going to take his measure on Sunday. Cuomo and Smith, they better be on their game. They're coming up against me, the dean of American journalism, self-appointed, of course. But anyway, LeBron James, when he was yelling at Stephen A. Smith initially, was doing so as a father. And I understand that because Smith mocked his son, Bronny James, who might not be ready for prime time yet. Is on the Lakers. It is a nepo situation. But I understand that by yelling at Smith on the sideline that then LeBron James pulled his groin and was out for 2 weeks. So maybe that's something. But, these kinds of feuds, a lot of them are artificial, and they help the feuders.
Yes.
LeBron James is an attention junkie, loves it. And I think Stephen A. likes the attention as well.
Bill, do you still have some tickets to sell for this live event? Where do folks go to get them?
It's a really nice crowd, but we just released 15 VIP tickets where after the show you get to meet me and Cuomo and Smith. Now, why anyone would want to do that, I don't know. But they sold out fast and first. So we scrounged up 15 more. And then Westbury, I don't know if you guys have been there. It's really a good theater. It's not a bad seat in the place. It's got a big audio visual, and I already have the topics that we're going to talk about with the Q&A from the audience. It's going to be a lot of fun. But they're going to be serious things that we mention as well. So if anybody wants a good afternoon, Sunday afternoon, go to BillO'Reilly.com. I'll link you right over. Ticketmaster, Westbury Music Fair, all of that. And I appreciate you guys mentioning it. It's very kind of you to do it.
Keep up
Appreciate
the good
you
work.
coming.
Am I what?
Sorry, that's what happens. You got two guys doing this sometimes. He said, keep up the good work, and I said, we appreciate you coming on. Uncle Bill, always welcome here. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate you having me, guys.
That's Bill O'Reilly. Look, we've got a lot of people out there who are trying to make your homes as secure as you possibly can, including the Travis household, the Sexton household. Your home should be the safest, most secure place to be. And maybe you have lethal options, but maybe you also want something that's not lethal. Maybe you've got teenagers coming and going at all hours of the night. Maybe you got kids who are in their 20s still coming by the house. Maybe you got shift work going on in your home. Dad, mom coming back at different hours. That's what Sabre is all about. They've got a home defense projectile pepper spray launcher that makes a ton of sense, non-lethal, but guaranteed to help keep you safe. And again, maybe you're just not sure exactly of what the threat is, but you want to protect yourself without doing something that could end in a violent death. Sabre's projectiles pack a serious non-lethal punch. Even if you miss, they create a 6-foot pepper cloud upon impact, causing intense sensory irritation for anybody within reach. And they have safeguarded hundreds of thousands of Americans with their products. We have Sabre in our home. We've got them all, whether it's pepper sprays, whether it's the pepper projectile launcher, even door secure bars. You want to check it out. They can have tremendous impact to make your home more safe and more secure. check out sabreradio.com. That's SABRE radio.com. As a bonus, you can save 15% on the website today. 844-824-SAFE. That's 844-824-SAFE. Sabre Radio, SABRE radio.com.